Tua Tagovailoa is heading into this Thanksgiving matchup with the Green Bay Packers carrying the kind of momentum that has fans dreaming big. After delivering 7 touchdowns without a single interception over the last 2 games, Tua is riding high. But let's not sugarcoat it, this game at Lambeau Field isn't just another Sunday stroll in the park. The cold will be brutal, the pressure even more so, and history hasn't exactly been kind to the Dolphins in freezing temperatures. The Dolphins have dropped 11 straight games when kickoff temperatures dip below 40 degrees. That stat looms large, and the forecast isn't doing Miami any favors. It's looking like temperatures will hover in the 30s, possibly even sinking into the 20s. For a team that's spent all season soaking up the Miami sunshine, this is going to be a test of grit and adaptability. Tua knows the challenge ahead. Growing up in Hawaii and playing college ball in Alabama, he's no stranger to warm climates. But the quarterback isn't making excuses. It's just a mindset, Tua said confidently. That's what you want to hear from your leader, right? Someone who's ready to embrace the icy battlefield and prove doubters wrong. Still, let's not forget what happened last year when Tua faced frigid conditions against Kansas City in the playoffs. With temperatures at -4 degrees and a wind chill of -27, he struggled. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a tough loss left Miami fans wondering if the cold was his kryptonite. This time, though, it's different. The Dolphins are chasing their 4th straight win, sitting at 5-6 and desperate to stay alive in the playoff race. Meanwhile, the Packers are cruising at 8-3 after dismantling the 49ers last Sunday. The stakes couldn't be higher, and Miami knows what they're up against. Green Bay's defense, led by Xavier McKinney and an elite secondary, isn't going to make it easy for Tua and his dynamic wideouts, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Speaking of McKinney, his presence adds an intriguing layer to this game. A former teammate of Tua's at Alabama, McKinney knows Tua's tendencies better than most. With 7 interceptions this season, he's tied for the league lead and will be itching to make a game-changing play against his old practice rival. I know what he brings to the table, Tua admitted, a mix of respect and competitiveness in his voice. But it's not just about Tua versus McKinney. Josh Jacobs, another Alabama alum, is now a key weapon for the Packers. Jacobs has been on fire this season, ranking 3rd in rushing yards with 944 heading into Week 13. His ability to grind out tough yards could be a nightmare for Miami's defense, especially if the Dolphins can't control the clock and keep the ball in Tua's hands. What's exciting, and maybe a little nerve-wracking, is how Miami's offense has evolved during this winning streak. Jonnu Smith, the tight end who's flown under the radar compared to Hill and Waddle, has emerged as a serious playmaker. Over the last 2 games, Smith has hauled in 15 catches for 188 yards and 3 touchdowns. Those numbers aren't just impressive, they're game-changing. It's been fascinating to see Smith outpace both Hill and Waddle in catches and targets recently. Could he be the X-factor Miami needs to steal a win in hostile territory? Meanwhile, the Packers have their own offensive weapon at tight end in Tucker Kraft. Kraft, with 6 touchdowns this season, is coming off another strong performance in Green Bay's win over the 49ers. If Miami can't figure out a way to contain him, this could turn into a shootout, and let's face it, nobody wants to go toe-to-toe with Aaron Rodgers and his arsenal of weapons in a high-scoring affair. And then there's the coaching battle. Matt LaFleur has quietly built a resume that puts him in elite company. With 64 wins in his first 6 seasons, he's tied with legends like Bill Cowher, Mike Holmgren, and Andy Reid. LaFleur's ability to adapt and exploit mismatches will be a huge factor on Thursday night. Miami's Mike McDaniel, on the other hand, is still carving out his identity as a head coach. This game feels like a defining moment for him. Can he out-scheme LaFleur and prove he belongs among the league's brightest minds? What makes this matchup so intriguing is the sense of unpredictability. Will Tua rise to the occasion and silence critics who question his ability to perform in the cold? Can Miami's defense hold up against a Packers offense that seems to be firing on all cylinders? And what about Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle? They've been somewhat quiet during this winning streak. Could this be the night they remind everyone why they're one of the most feared duos in the league? It's hard to ignore the history and the odds stacked against Miami. Lambeau Field is a fortress, and the Packers have been nearly unstoppable in recent weeks. But this Dolphins team has shown flashes of resilience and brilliance. If Tua can keep his composure and find ways to get the ball to his playmakers, Miami has a puncher's chance to pull off the upset.